Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to our CSI Donate webcast. Thank you for joining. My name is Bill Boehner. I'm the Vice President of Operations at Computer System Innovations. I will be your moderator for today's webcast. Last maybe 45, 50 minutes. We'll make sure we have some time at the end for some questions and comments. But before we get started, let me run through some housekeeping stuff for you. So everyone's up to speed on how to use the Zoom meeting features. So everyone has been muted upon entry so that we have a clean and clear audio. However, we do welcome your questions and comments. So here's how to do that. Click on the Q&A button at the bottom of the Zoom window to launch the Q&A window. From here, go ahead and type your questions or comments into the Q&A box and click send. I'll be monitoring these throughout the webcast and will address your questions and share your comments at the end of the main presentation. If you have any technical issues, you can use the same Q&A window to communicate with me, and I'll do my best to get you sorted out. For today's webcast, as I said before, we will be recording it, and a link will be sent to you guys within the next couple of hours following the webcast. Okay, so that's all the housekeeping items I have for you. Today we have two panelists joining us, Doug Morris, founder and CEO of CSI, and Brandy Barber, who is the Director of Consulting Services for CSI and is also the product owner for CSI Donate. So with that, I'm going to first turn it over to Doug to get us started. Take it away, Doug.
Thanks, Bill. Hopefully everybody can hear me. And so we're going to get going here. First slide here, we're going to talk just real quick about CSI. I started the company when I was 11 years old back in 1991. And in 92, we actually started selling iMIS. We consider ourselves the leading provider of add-on products. And to me, a product means a lot more than just something you've made for one customer. We want to make sure that we have a group of customers using it, because one of the things we'll talk about is how our products evolve. And that's based on your suggestions. We don't just sit here in an office and come up with great ideas. We do, of course, but really your ideas are the powerful ones. And we were lucky enough to win the Rise App Challenge award. It's an award ASI gives out, and we've won that 3 years in a row. Pretty happy about that. A lot of you on this call already have one or more of our products. Our original product way back when was a merge tool for iMIS. It's still the most powerful merge product out there. People needed the ability to close events. We added that. You still need that even with the next version of iMIS. Some people say you don't. I say you do. We've got an import product. It's our third most popular product. We have a documentation product because everyone, loses a staff member and no one knows how their iMIS is set up. We do national change of address for those people who still mail. Our iEmail product is our most popular product, integrating Outlook and iMIS. And not just for emailing. The key thing there is to be saving emails. And we've got even more products. Our GL processor, as people need to be exporting to their accounting system, we've got an awesome tool there to help you out. Freight rate import, if you're still shipping stuff to customers or members, you need to price out freight, we can do that. Our page filter allows mortals to actually adjust rise on the fly. We have a geolocation tool. If you are considering CSI Donate and you are using iMIS fundraising, you should have freeze. That stands for Fundraising Made Easy. And that's the ability to edit posted gifts and pledges. And of course, CSI Donate. We have some cloud products too. We've got an iEmail version. The cloud works, both products work with Office 365. Our email cloud one works with the web version of that. We have an iImport version. We integrate with cVent. So if you're doing events, you need more power than what iMIS offers. We've got that too. Our data station's a cloud product to push data to third parties, like maybe your LMS or whatever. Our SSO allows you to use your iMIS username and password everywhere. And our GL processor also works with the cloud version. So real quick about CSI, we do have two support staff. I think that's really important. We want to be able to turn around support requests as quick as powerful. We've got one that's here in Chicago and one that's out in Mountain Time. So we've actually increased our support hours from 8 to 6. We try and fix most bugs within a week. Sometimes there's a little conversation over what a bug is and what an enhancement is, but if it's a bug, we try and get those fixed within a week. About 60% of all customers that have iMIS have one of our products, and we're really proud of that. And then finally, you know, and I mean this, your suggestions drive our products. What Brandy's going to show you today, she is the product owner. She does get to make decisions on what goes into the product, but a lot of these are because she works hand in hand directly with clients who are raising money, and she's hearing what they need. And based on what she hears, that's what ends up in the product. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Brandy. As Bill said, she does head up our consulting practice here, but she's also the product owner of CSI Donate. So she's the one knocking on my door saying we're adding this and here's why. And she gets to make those calls, and I'm really proud of what she and the team here has done with the product. So Brandy, why is CSI Donate so great?
Thanks, Bill and Doug. So I am really excited to share a little bit about CSI Donate today. Really proud of the product that we've built, especially the enhancements over the last couple of years. Originally, CSI Donate was built with the intent of just being a quick and easy online fundraising tool for iMIS clients. And we've been able to maintain that, but add a lot of flexibility and functionality over the last 2 years to kind of keep in line with trends in online fundraising. So I'm going to jump into some of the things that we think are unique and interesting, and then I'll spend some time actually walking you through what our donation forms look like. So I mentioned we're proud of CSI Donate, and I think one of the reasons is how much we've been able to help CSI Donate clients fundraise in the last 2 years with some of the enhancements we've made. So over $4 million and counting in the last 22 months through just CSI Donate gifts, which is really exciting. And I think another nice stat that we like to mention is of that $4 million, $400,000 in recurring revenue and recurring donations. So it's been a big piece of CSI Donate over the last 2 years, developing recurring giving that is simple for a donor, but also maximizes your ability to fundraise, to set it and forget it for those donors. So what is CSI Donate? Like I said, when we originally launched the product, it was really meant to be an online giving tool that was super easy for your staff to go in and create giving pages on the fly. So you don't have to know how to code. You don't have to have a web developer on staff to set up pages for you. But anyone who can use a computer can really get in and craft what those giving pages look like. So for the various giving pages we have, they're easily accessible from a variety of places, starting with your website and can be linked directly from there. Social media, we've added in some features to make those links look appealing on different social media platforms and the way that the images load. Electronic communications, obviously, sending links in emails. And even physical communication. So you have the ability to set an alias and mail those out with nice URLs that look great for maybe direct mail giving pieces. So what's so special about our CSI Donate giving pages? They are fully integrated with iMIS. So that means no more importing of external donations or staying up for hours, hand keying in donations that have maybe come in on a spreadsheet or through some other third-party tool. Each gift that is made via CSI Donate page goes directly into iMIS, into a batch and onto that donor's record. We do match all the donations against your database. So what that means is we do accept donations without having to be logged in. We know logging in is a barrier to giving, and that is part of the reason we allow any user to go to a CSI Donate page and make a gift without logging in. Now, certainly you can, and I'll show you what that looks like in a bit. But if we can find a record in your database with the same last name and email address, we'll go ahead and match that donation to their record and apply it accordingly. So it limits the number of duplicates you may see and decreases the amount of logging in that's required. And then you and your staff, as we mentioned, can create and post those giving pages as needed from anywhere. It is mobile, so you have the ability to give via your phone as well. So a little bit about kind of setting up and creating your own pages. We've got tons of options, and anyone who's seen me give an in-depth demo in the past knows to go through every single setting in CSI Donate that you have available, we need at least 2 hours. Just to give you some of the highlights, we do have the option for suggested amounts or a variety of different gift arrays, if you will. So let's say you've got different templates and they require different giving amounts or giving arrays. You get to customize that and set that per template. Recurring giving. So you saw the stat on the money that's being raised with recurring giving. We do have recurring giving options. They are customizable per template that you set up. So you can have recurring giving in different frequencies, with end dates or without end dates. You can have recurring single gifts or even recurring pledges, a new feature that's been added. So we've tried to make recurring giving as flexible for your fundraising organizations to match kind of your specific needs. Selectable or specific funds. So maybe you want a page that's linked on your website that always directs to your annual fund. You can set that up, and anyone who finds their way to that giving page and makes a donation, those will always go to your annual fund. But maybe you want donors to have a choice in choosing from a list or a certain group of funds. You can also determine that and per template decide whether the donor gets to choose or you're choosing on their behalf. Soft credits. So we also have the ability to set a soft credit per template. So whether you're looking at something like a volunteer who has their own page, who's helping you to raise money and you want to soft credit them, or a particular challenge campaign or giving template for an organization, chapter, or individual, you set the ID on the template, and then every gift that comes in via that template creates a soft credit in that donation amount for that particular record. Tributes. We support tributes in a variety of ways. So something as simple as a in honor of, in memory of, and type a name, all the way to what we consider multiple dynamic tributes, where you can send an email from the donor to the person that they're honoring, all from the donation page. So lots of different ways to do tributes, and I'll show you a couple of those when we get to the form. And then visually, there are a lot of options. Every template can look different. You've got page headers, page text, graphics, lots of options for changing what you see on the forms. I always joke one of my favorite things in our system settings when it comes to visuals are the ability to customize our error messages. So anything that comes up and pops up on screen to a donor, you get to customize that, add your own language or information to it, which is really nice. And then demographic questions. So you can have a set of different questions. You'll see a few different styles of that today, and they can be added to different giving pages as needed. But maybe you're wanting a little bit more. So our newest module that we're rolled out with CSI Donate this year is our crowdfunding module. So this adds a ton of different features and options for fundraisers who want to create things like a day of giving or a specific campaign and showcase lots of information and options. So you can set goals for a particular day of giving or campaign, be it amount or number of donors, and in real time update and show individuals what those statistics are looking like. Those can be displayed on a giving dashboard, which is customizable from content to visual appeal, and a variety of different options, all driven by SQL queries. So let's say you want to get really specific on the data that's shown on those dashboards. You've got full control over how the gifts, donors, and information is represented. And then tons of metrics to drive even more giving, create challenges, encourage other donors to give based on what they're seeing. So things like top states, a countdown to when maybe your campaign or day of giving is ending, a donor wall so that people can see their name or see that other members or individuals they know have given, share top donors, and a lot more. So we'll see some examples of that today. And then one of, I think, the most unique things we've added with our crowdfunding module is the ability to use ambassadors for fundraising. So not only can you have multiple different templates, you can now engage a committee of your volunteers or members to customize templates where they can raise dollars on your behalf. All of that is tracked in the database, so not only do they have the ability to customize language or text on the form that sort of tells their own story, you have the ability to actually see how they're performing and what dollars they've raised to see who your best ambassadors are out there for your organization. So some really cool features that we've added in. So enough of the PowerPoint. I'm going to jump over now to the actual product and show you what we've got. So give me just a second to pull up our form. All right. So on your screen, you've got a CSI Donate giving template. This is sort of focusing on the idea of a Giving Tuesday campaign. You'll see most of our templates, there's a specific style that clients like to use, so we'll help you set up that template. And then from there, you can customize text, header, content, etc. As I mentioned, different custom giving arrays or amounts. You'll notice when I pulled up this form that the $200 was pre-selected. So let's say you have kind of a most popular amount or a dollar amount that you'd like to encourage donors to give. You can indicate that in setting up your template, and so that amount is pre-selected when a donor arrives to the giving page. Now, you can give them the ability to still change that amount and type in their own, or you can take that away. There's a lot of flexibility there. You can make a one-time donation, or maybe I want to repeat that monthly. So I'm going to go old school with $19.99, and I want to repeat it monthly. And there's options here. So if you decide you want donors to be able to limit the term in which they're giving, you can do that. If not, they would just see a checkbox for repeating monthly and not this ability to check. So I'm going to go ahead and just set it up for 12 months. You'll see I logged in for ease of that, and so you'll see it pre-fills my information. You have the ability to put in a fully qualified URL, so if you've got a RISE profile in iMIS or a specific profile that your organization uses, you can link to that button. Donors can see their information and then even go out to your profile and update contact info or additional information as needed, which is really nice. Some other optional features that donors have on each template that you can turn on, turn off at your leisure. So allowing them to make an anonymous donation. That's a request we get occasionally. So if someone checks this, their donation would be anonymous. There's also an option to use essentially the list as field in fundraising. So maybe I'm making a donation, but I'd like it to be listed as me and my significant other, or possibly a family foundation, if you will. So options that you can turn on and turn off per template. I mentioned tributes. And so this is showcasing some of our multiple tribute options. So I can, just type a name in. Let's say Doug did a really great job kind of kicking it off for me. So I'm going to send him a tribute here. So I can type his information in if I know it, which is great. And I can even, add a little message to him to say, thanks, Doug. Now, when I make my gift and it goes through, Doug will get an email that says, thanks, whatever I've typed here, and letting him know that I've made a donation in his honor. And that will have a button for him to go and make a donation of his own if he likes. So kind of creating a snowball effect, if you will, of donors through tribute. Now, you might see that there's one of three available options for tribute. So on a template, another setting that you have available is limiting the number of tributes. So maybe you don't want more than 2 or 3, or maybe you want up to 10. And then you can also apply a dollar amount that's required for each. So if you're encouraging donors to give more per tribute, you could set a minimum amount. So in this scenario, for every $5 that I give, I have the ability to honor someone. And that's based on that $19.99 gift amount that I've entered. So I can click the Add Another, and it's going to show me options there. We do have another feature here where you can actually set up a lookup. And so that's driven just by an IQA and iMIS. So you get to determine what data shows, which records return. And that is only available to those that are considered members in your database for security reasons. Those email addresses are starred out so that they don't have the ability to kind of export that data and take it with them. So really great options here for the tribute. Optional gift messages. So this is just a nice way to collect, let's say, maybe a gift message that you want to share with someone else. We have some clients who've actually used it as an opportunity to gather testimonials. So maybe on a particular day of giving, what's encouraged you to make your donation today? And then you walk away with not only a gift, but some really great information from members and donors as to why they're choosing to give to your organization. Sort of a multi-purpose gift message, if you will. And then from our payment details section, we do accept both credit card and ACH. So you can turn those on or off per template. So maybe you don't want to take ACH. You don't have to. You could just have the credit card option and disable ACH, or vice versa. I don't think I've ever seen anyone disable credit cards, but hey, we've got the feature if you want it. And then I mentioned those demographic questions. So there's a few different flavors here. You can have radio buttons, check boxes, free response, or even multi-select options to choose questions for donors. So I am going to throw in a credit card number here, just a little test one. Show you what it looks like. And it's a live demo, and I've had this page open for a really long time. So let's see what happens here. A couple other features that have been added this past year that you have the option per template. So covering transaction fees. You can now offer the donor the option to round up their gift and include the transaction fee for the credit card in their donation. And then if you're using our crowdfunding module and you've got the donor wall on, you can let the donor opt in or opt out of actually using the donor wall and putting their name on it. So some options there. So when we're all said and done, we click donate. And of course we timed out because I've had this open for about an hour before the demo started. But you get the point. So from the donor perspective, everything is a single giving page. They never have to leave. We've kind of lowered the number of clicks that are available or required for a donor to make the gift, and all is right there for them. Now, this is sort of kind of all features turned on, but if you want something simple and easier to quickly make those donations and you don't need this for a day-to-day basis, maybe your general giving page is slimmed down a bit. So that's one of our templates. I think it gives a great overview of what we've got. Let me showcase a little bit of what we have with our crowdfunding dashboard. So this is a sandbox version of our dashboard. So I'll tell you, our branding is not as robust and stunning. If you really want to see what one looks like out in the wild for some of our clients, we do have a couple that have ongoing giving days, and happy to send you over their link to take a look at it. And feel free to make a donation and support some of those groups if you like. But typically we can do things like custom images, full width banners, your colors, your branding, and we can help set that up, and then you can reuse that template. Or if you've got your own staff in-house, you can do a lot of that. You can do that as well. All of the boxes that you're seeing here are essentially like widgets or HTML kind of iParts, where you have the ability to upload your own images, add your own text. They're basically WYSIWYG editors, so very easy to use. There are some of those live stats for donors this year and dollars raised. So as gifts are made or donors make gifts, you can see these numbers increase. Here's kind of a sample donor wall. So you can choose to show just name or how recently donations were made. You can show gift amounts or hide those and just show the name if you're not too keen on showing an individual donor's amount. That's an option as well. And then some of the really cool things with our crowdfunding module is the ability to kind of feature campaigns or templates. So if you set up and consider something to be a featured campaign, you'll see those here. You get a little snippet of what that's about, and then a button that will take you directly to it. So our Giving Tuesday template you already saw. We'll click on our fall template just to give you an idea of how different those individual templates can look. The styling of those, even for your own organization, can be very different. So if you've got different entities that need different styling, or maybe a certain time of the year you run a campaign that has its own logo, its own content, even within your own setup, you can have multiple different styling templates. And then here's some of those kind of top states and companies and donors options where you'll see essentially kind of thermometer progress for dollars raised and kind of tracking. We've seen some of our fraternal clients really get into this with like top chapters, and so chapters can kind of compete to see who's going to raise the most money, which is great. And everything from just general content on the dashboard. So these are all iParts that you can kind of drag and drop and decide placement on your own, so you're not having to customize a dashboard each time. But rather you've got the ability to kind of maintain that throughout the year and be really self-sufficient. All right, so I am going to head back over to our template for a bit. And while we have a little bit of extra time, I'm also going to show you what our administration site looks like, just so you have an idea of where all these great changes can be made. So this is our admin site for CSI Donate. You'll see everything from where you go to manage all of those templates that I talked about, to our various system settings, to kind of working on text and content updates and being able to use those WYSIWYG editors that I mentioned. There's a great log that tells you about every transaction that happens, being able to see the details, clicking on a particular donor ID and seeing all their related giving. So lots of reporting options in here as well. And then it may sound silly, but we have a great online user manual that's searchable for tips and tricks and troubleshooting if need be. So a lot of features here that you can set up. You can restrict access to this, so users just need to be logged in with their typical iMIS credentials, and then you have the ability to say only certain individuals can log in and access it to keep this page secure. All right. I know there are some questions coming in, so I'm going to turn it back over to my moderator. So
Sounds
we can
good.
talk about questions.
Thanks, Brandy. That great overview, great stuff. And just as a reminder, everyone, if you have questions, feel free to fire away, and we'll load up Brandy with some things that she can share. So, the first one, I think, Brandy, you've hit on it a couple of times, but just to make sure we address it, questions around styling our page, our giving page, the donor page, how does that work, and what flexibility do I have? How do we help organizations kind of with that process?
Absolutely. So you can definitely style those pages with your own fonts, logos, kind of branding. We have designers and staff or developers who can take your visual standards guide or your branding elements and put together a first template for you, and then kind of let you customize from there. So we can be as involved. We've had some clients who say, here's the color, go to town and make it look nice for us. And then others who provide a really scripted kind of outlook of what they'd like to see for that initial template. And then from there, you can customize on out.
Great. Got one more here. So if anyone else is thinking of a question, feel free to fire them away. But this is related to the credit card information. So who takes on liability for the credit card information storage for automated monthly payments?
Ooh, great question. We love security questions. So I should have mentioned that our recurring giving is integrated with iMIS and BluePay. So BluePay, I think probably a lot of people have heard of them as a big processor out in the iMIS community. And so when you set up a BluePay account that's integrated with iMIS, what happens is that initial payment is sent over via our API to BluePay, and what's called a rebilling plan is set up. It's going to get a little technical, so bear with me. So that rebilling plan is set up in BluePay as well as in iMIS, but the credit card information is actually tokenized and not stored. So you don't have any credit card information that you're storing in your iMIS. All you have is a unique identifier that links to that rebilling plan in BluePay. So you're not storing any of it. You don't have to worry about keeping that credit card information on file. And then from a BluePay perspective, they're not storing the credit card either. It is a token. So all secure.
Excellent. Okay, next up. So do we have automated emails that can be set up on the back end? Things like automatic thank yous for various levels of giving. Maybe, another one might be once 365 days have elapsed, send out another reminder for, for giving the same amount they did last year, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. So right now, the emails that we have integrated with CSI Donate are immediately upon donation, the donor will get an email, and it's a customizable template, and you can actually have multiple different receipts. So let's say one template is a specific wording or language versus another requires a different receipt. You can have multiple different receipts styled, details, your own tax language, maybe letters from your executive director if need be. And then there's sort of your, if you will, confirmation details, gift amount, fund, tribute information, etc., as well as those tribute emails that you saw. So those are the emails that send today. We do work with several CSI Donate clients who have Process Automation Plus and iMIS and have used that to automate numerous different emails, everything from thank you to achieving this donor club to pledge reminders. And so typically those are things we see set up in something like a process automation or maybe even a task center if you're still using Task Center. But from the system itself, we're doing receipts both for the donor and the honoree when using multiple tributes.
Okay. Next up is around text to donate. Do you plan to offer a text to give feature that would integrate with the donation page?
We do, and I don't know who asked this question, but I appreciate it because I did neglect to mention that. So I'll give you a quick, I'm just going to pull up a different screen so maybe you can see some of this. We do have text to give. I'm currently integrated using the Twilio SMS system. So one of the biggest SMS providers that are out there, really affordable rates in terms of text messaging. So we actually integrate with your Twilio account. You just drop your information in about that account into CSI Donate, and then you can, on a per template basis, even set up, just pull this up, an actual text to give code. So something like CSI Rocks, we're a big fan of, right? If they text that code to your Twilio account, whatever it is, whether it's a phone number or a short code, you get the ability to choose. They'll get a response with your giving form, and it's all based around the template. We have included mobile number matching. So let's say you text something out, or maybe they scan a QR code or something. And so if we can match their mobile number to a phone number in iMIS, then we can match the donation to their record even if they haven't logged in. So text to give is there and usable today. Awesome.
All right, I've got two more in queue. So this next one is around company matching. Double the Donation offers an automated platform to help identify company match. Is this something that we could use with CSI Donate?
Yes. So we are actually in discussions with Double the Donation to see how we can kind of leverage their platform even more for clients who are shared between using CSI Donate and Double the Donation. But you do today have the ability on those templates to add text or information in. And so we have at least one client today who's taken their Double the Donation kind of details and just added that to the end of their giving receipt so that when that information comes in, they can search for a matching gift. So in a light way, just through styling, you can use your Double the Donation links today, but we are looking at a possible more robust integration option in the works. So more to come on that.
Okay. This is the last one I have. Well, maybe not. One more after this. Okay, that's great. So here's a question around sort of the drop-down menu for selecting a fund. So if we have like hundreds, a very, very large list of donation funds, can we somehow do some conditional logic for what gets displayed in the drop-down?
Absolutely. So what we have today for multiple funds is what's called a tree, a user-defined tree. So I'll show this. These are some of those. We've got millions of features that I could take 2 hours to show you. So in the setup, you'll see per template, we've got all distributions, so it's just going to be a really long list, right? So in this demo, we don't have a ton. We've only got, 10 or so out here. But if you've got 100 plus, let's say maybe you've got like 50 scholarships and tons of other funds, that's a really long list to go through. So we have two other options that will help you categorize those. Excuse me. If you happen to be using interest codes in iMIS, some people do, but not everyone, and you have your funds by interest code, it will do the work for you. So it will create a list that is grouped by interest code, and then the donor can expand and see those. If you're not using interest code or it's not really relevant, you can also create what's called a user-defined tree. And so you pick the groups. So I've got, tons of funds out here, really distributions, if you will. And then I have different fund groups. So what I see sometimes is leadership funds, scholarship funds, and then under each of those is a much longer list so that a donor can kind of have a little bit more control and not be so overwhelmed. That user-defined tree today is just driven by a gen table in iMIS. So if you've got 100 plus, but maybe you've got 400 funds and you only want 100 of them to show, you only will see what is set up in that gen table. You can import into it. We can help you import into it if that's not something you're comfortable doing. So you can definitely scale down your fund list or just make it more manageable using one of those two options. And that is per template. So if you're using the user-defined tree on one template, but on another you want to have a full list or no list at all, just specific to one, you can do that.
Great. One more here. Seems to be around kind of a user or donor kind of dashboard. So is there a dashboard that will show things right off the bat from an individual donor's perspective, maybe in a widget form or something that shows total amount given over time, specific funds given to, without necessarily having to pull a report?
Ooh, I actually love that. We're not doing that today in CSI Donate. What we typically see is maybe you're leading them from their donor profile in iMIS. So maybe you got a RISE profile or another CMS with integrated data. Those are all really cool stats that you can show to an individual in their profile and then send them over to CSI Donate. So we're not doing that today, but that's a great enhancement idea for us to add for those donors who do choose to log in, maybe pulling some things like lifetime giving. That's definitely something to think about. I'll add that to our enhancement list as Doug shakes his head at me. One more thing that I get to add. But we do today offer, just because this did bring up, reporting and dashboards, something that I didn't mention. We do have a set of core IQAs and business objects and some template pages. So things that we will help you with, it's not the user, the donor seeing them themselves, but for you as staff, being able to go to a page in your RISE staff site and see all recurring gifts that are currently active and search through those recurring gifts by amount or name or fund, being able to see tributes that have come in via CSI Donate, and even, a list of active templates and kind of quick links to donate if maybe someone calls and wants to make a donation, or you're on site at an event and you want to quickly be able to get a gift in for someone, you can use the template to expedite that. So we do have some RISE elements, if you will, that we'll provide to clients, but that's a really great idea for us to look at for the next version.
Okay, one more here. Are donors able to see history of their giving activity? So probably a similar along the same lines, yeah.
Yeah, similar response. They can definitely see their giving activity if you're displaying that on their profile. On the actual giving template page today, they can't see that, but those are certainly some things we could consider for when an individual is logged in.
Yep. Okay. I'll give it 1 or 2 more seconds in case anyone's typing. But it looks like we have answered our last questions. Those questions were awesome, great Q&A session. So thank you all for that. And as Doug said in the beginning, a lot of our enhancement ideas come from listening. And so it's great to hear some of the questions and thoughts from the team here. So with that, before I close, I just want to kind of put a shout out and a reminder that we're going to do one more webcast this month. We're going to focus on iEmail and iEmail Cloud and talk about 360-degree member engagement, as well as highlighting how you can take this with you on your handheld devices as you go mobile. So if you haven't already done so, you can register for that on our website. And circling back to this last slide, if there's any questions at all, or comments or suggestions, there's a couple ways you can get in touch with us. If you have sales-related questions in terms of pricing or anything like that, you reach out to me through the sales@csiinc.com. If you already have it and have questions about features, functions, etc., support@csiinc.com as well. And if you're just looking for information or additional follow-up, we also have an info@csiinc.com. And so we look forward to hearing from you. And with that, thank you again for spending some time with us and hearing more about CSI Donate. And that concludes our webcast for today. And we hope we'll see you next week. Thank you.